Hello, everybody. Welcome to SketchCraft Live. I'm Rob Duenas, graphic artist, Esquire, and if you're joining in for the very first time, you should know that we typically rant about art, movies, and comic-related news stuff chosen by either us or you, the audience. And by us, I mean Brandon, Ludheavy James. Say hello.
Hello.
And Ashley West from GangFeather.com. Ashley, say hi.
Hey.
All right, we just turn the music down there, and we can rock and roll here. So, it's been a busy week, everybody. What do I say about this? I've had some PC adventures. You know, the one thing I want to talk about, when it comes to being a freelance artist, maybe full-time, right? If you ever attain that prestigious, poorly paid position of full-time freelance artist, you're going to encounter what I like to call IT issues. It's where nothing works and everything is still due and no one cares. Yes, so I had a very strange Windows error this week, like crazy strange Windows error, where basically it was, I don't know, like Windows basically couldn't figure out, how do I say this, couldn't figure out what drive to boot from, no matter what you told it to. So essentially I had to reset my BIOS, which is a fucking nightmare, and then fix a bunch of stuff. So we postponed Friday's cast, then Monday's cast, and today's Friday?
Yeah.
Yep.
Damn, guys. Like, I'm going to be honest, I don't know what day it is. So, it's something else about being a freelance artist. You don't know what day it is. You know in your head, oh, that shit's due tomorrow.
You know when it's light and dark out.
I know when it's light and dark. I know when to go for a walk. And I know when to sleep. That's it. Anyhow, so it's been a week of just fist pounding, and this is ridiculous. I got it all working. Everything's working fine. Everything's great. That being said, one thing that changed was I went back from CS6, Photoshop CS6, to Photoshop CS5, which I don't know why I bother to tell people I'm doing that sort of thing, because it doesn't matter. But every now and then I share that bit of info. And then you guys should have seen it. I got just floored with like about a dozen people sending me messages. You know, you should try this version of Photoshop, and you should just go to Psy, and you should use, I don't know, there's some weird iOS thing. I'm like, I can't use an iOS app, folks. Like, I use a PC. And so a lot of my friends wanted to know, why would I ever downgrade to an older version of a software package? Ashley, have you ever switched backwards to like Photoshop or anything? Have you gone from down, like you went up and you're like, no, and you went back?
Not that I can think of, no.
Brandon, you've never, right?
Nah, anything that's on my computer is just whatever the wife had for school.
Well, I'll tell you the number one reason to do something like that. It's called stability. I already had enough troubles this week. Unfortunately, because I use a solid state drive, it doesn't work very well with Windows 7. So I had to go up to Windows 8, which I hate. Windows 10, which I'll eventually get to once they work out the bugs. I also moved up to CS6 because it had this recovery feature where Photoshop will save your ass in case, it crashes. You click in the mouse, Brandon?
I was double checking to make sure you're streaming live because I didn't see the video.
All right, that's cool. So I just want to make certain that's all that is. So
Don't say it.
I went up to CS6, and then all of a sudden, things were crashing all the time. Photoshop's not something that crashes much on me. I got a great video card and 32 gigs of RAM and a solid state and its own cache disk. And Photoshop would crash on me all the time. I actually noticed in the task manager, Photoshop would start to eke up to like 20 gigs of RAM being used. And then it would crash after about 20 gigs. And then it would bring up a bunch of files I had closed that were in temp memory or whatever. So I guess however the auto recover feature works in Photoshop, it's based on building a giant cache disk. That's had to be why I get up to 20 gigs. Because now that I went back to CS5, it never goes over 11. In RAM at any time, ever. I actually didn't turn my PC off for 2 days. Left Photoshop on, opened up all my big files, and it never went over 11 gigs. And it doesn't crash. So I went back down to CS5, and the only annoying part about it in CS6, if you hit Control-J or Command-J, depending on what operating system you use, you can duplicate folders. It's really handy if you use a lot of files and you put things in folders. And if you duplicate, it's Control-J, boom, duplicate. And CS5, you have to actually just drag it down to the little new file icon, and it pops back up. So that being said, there is one other glitch in CS6, which this broke the fucking bridge for me, was there's a text glitch in CS6 and above where if you ever use text in Photoshop, I start to type things, and then it will put all of the letters going to the left, like in front of other stuff. So you put an exclamation point, it would put the exclamation point on the left side of an L. And it's not because you got paragraph set justify right or left. It's a glitch, and then you have to go in to preferences and set it for use Arabic something or other, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and then it resets. And I can't do that. Like, it's not that I do all my text through Photoshop, but I do a lot. Like, if I want to do custom text, logos, stuff like that, I'll type something on basic in Photoshop, move it around, and then draw over it, whatever. Especially when I'm doing like lettering for like word balloons for comics, which I'm setting up on GameCube with a lot of lettering. I use 2 or 3 different fonts for that, and I can't go back on all my files, and it'd be like 1,000 plus files at least. So anyway, I had to go back to CS5. That being said, Brandon and Ashley, if you ever encounter this problem, don't ever tell people. They don't want to hear. I had one guy tell me, I just really prefer the way the user interface looks on CC 2016, which boggles my fucking mind. Like you're using a version you don't like, but you just like the way it looks. And that's the world we live in now, where people just use versions of Photoshop or any program because they look better. I'm like, if you hit the fucking F key, it removes the interface.
Yeah, when you told people you're going back to the older stuff, it's almost like you told people who you're voting for. Like, people are like offended and take it personal, and they're like, wait, no. And then they want to tell you why you shouldn't go back to the program, vote for that person. They were just like, no, listen, I'm going to drop some knowledge on you, Rob, because you don't know. That's what it seems like when you tell people you're going to make a change to something that they don't agree upon.
And I'll be honest, I literally forget. I forget every time I go to post this. I go, yeah, I'm just going to switch back. Because I'm mad at the program and I can't yell at it. So I'm going to just tell everyone you suck. And then everyone starts defending their choice of program, It's annoying. So it's just a series of annoying events, this week. So whatever. That being said, Ashley, if you want to talk about something, I didn't see anything on the board, but if you want to talk about something, now's the time.
I really tried to think of something, and I just couldn't. And I thought maybe, I thought like your stuff, I would just chime in on it.
Okay, chime in.
I got a quick question, though. Quick question.
Sure.
Even though, because I ask you this all the time, but I'm going to stop in the middle. Even though I can't see you streaming right now for all of us, it still records and saves, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes I like to watch. I like the mannerisms. I like seeing the stuff pop up. I'm unable to watch right now for some reason, so bum me out. That's all. Ashley, pick one of my topics.
Okay. Give me a second. Okay, let's do Clay Enos photography.
Okay. I will tell you why I put his name in there. So, me and Rob and Kyle Wright, a guy who works on movie stuff, watched the newest trailer for the Ghostbusters with the females and such, and didn't like the look of the movie on a lot of the things. So, my question, which I'm not very good at wording them, obviously, is how important it is to have people supporting characters like photography and cinematographers in movies to make movies look better. And I use Clay Enos, did photography on The Watchmen and now all the Batman vs. Superman photography, movie posters, Wonder Woman, and Larry Fong, who's the cinematographer for the new Batman vs. Superman movie. And my question to Rob is, how much more do these people bring to the movie to make it better? What?
All right, so I just want to break this down. First, you said characters. What you're talking about are people who work on the film, not fictional characters in a movie.
Did I say characters?
Yeah, you did.
My bad.
Brandon's a character. So basically, you're talking about how important is the look of a film. Like, it's like everything. You know, like we live in a visual medium, So when a film looks like ass, let me think of a really good film that they spent a lot of money on that looks like shit. It's called X-Men The Last Stand. You ever try to watch that movie? It doesn't even look like X-Men 1 and 2.
No.
Like it's shot in a way that is almost television-like. Case in point, watch some You know, we have a. I'm gonna cut myself off there. We have a very specific idea of what a film should look like in this country, and I can prove it because when the Hobbit movies came out, they were like 48 frames per second, and they moved kind of fast, and the video was really sort of clear, no
Do you,
flutter.
do you say Hobbit movies?
Yeah, the Hobbit
Like
films.
the original one?
No. The new three Hobbit trilogy, the Hobbit.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say because those were rotoscoped.
You're talking about the Ralph Bakshi animated film. We don't mention that movie. So that cartoon freaked me out because of the missing finger. You know, like the missing finger, the Hobbit. I got afraid to touch anything because I didn't understand the movie. Now I'm talking about the Peter Jackson Hobbit films were shot in 48 frames per second, and it removed the flutter. And then even though they had good DP, which is director of photography, the lack of flutter made everything look really crisp as if it were shot on video, which is similar to how soap operas are shot.
Hmm.
And so everyone's like, it doesn't look like a movie. You know, I don't know, it doesn't look like a movie. In the case of the Ghostbusters film, like right now, it looks like a Nickelodeon made for kids film. You know, where you use super neon greens. Case in point, look at the Green Lantern film. Remember how like the greens are really neon-y? And
Yeah.
it had this artificial, sort of sterile. Uh, X-Men Origins, Wolverine, whatever the fuck that movie was called, had a lot of that. Meanwhile, if you look at like Deadpool feels like a '90s film actually. Like it actually looks like a '90s film. If you remember the Miramax movies,
Hmm.
like I was at your house a couple weeks ago, Brandon, and I put on Rounders, and that movie doesn't look like a movie where people would play cards, right? It
Right.
looks like a crime noir film,
Yeah, like a crime
like
drama.
Daredevil, even, right? With the
Yeah.
neon, with the yellow gaseous lamps and stuff. So, no, the look is everything. That in comics, it reminds me of not just a colorist. You know, you get a bad colorist, and also the graphic design. You ever open up a comic and it's like they got the Bada Boom fonts in the
Yeah.
open cover, and you can see they got a hold of that 1001 font or tricks book for Photoshop, and they beveled. They beveled and used fire buttons and shit.
Ew.
Yeah. So, and what does that say when you see it? He goes, wow, this is a cheap piece. This is stink. This is a stink biscuit. So, yeah, it's everything. Clay Enos is different. That's the guy who's doing like production, like photos.
Right. He'll do all the like the movie posters, the on-set photos that. So when they released that Batman standing there next to the Batmobile brooding, he took that. The Empire magazine covers with like the Suicide Squad and the Batman movies. He
Yeah,
took all those photos.
the thing for me is I don't really care for a lot of those. I don't think they're never representative of the film.
See, I'm big on I love the beautiful photography pictures. Just
Yeah, I like the actual frames from the film. So
right. So you would lean more towards like Larry Fong, right?
yeah, yeah.
So what? Just to kind of clarify, because I mess it up sometimes. What does a cinematographer do? Like, what's their main job when they're brought onto a movie, or his main job?
You should ask Kyle to answer that question. Everything you see is controlled by the director of photography or the cinematographer. It's called director of photography. Everything you see, the light, the color, the temperature, the tone, all that's controlled by them. So a director doesn't say, I want to, move this around. They tell them what they're going for, and the director of photography's whole job, when a director shows up on set, the DP has the whole thing lit. They already know what it's going to look like the day of. The director's job is to get
So-
performances out of the actors.
So like basically the cinematographer, let's say they're responsible for the filter of the movie. Well, when I say filter, I mean, for instance, The Matrix has this green filter on it. They're in charge of that.
Yes, but I will say that green filter did not exist in the original print of the film. There was a slight acid wash that they used when they would go into the Matrix. Yeah, they gave it this acid wash tone. It's in like 7. It was actually a chemical process because they didn't have digital tinting at the time. With Matrix 2 and 3, they started to use digital color grading, and they made that green and green. And then they went back and recolor graded the first Matrix film. So it's super green and then super purpley blue when he's in the real world, or vice versa. I can't remember how that worked out. So I think it's green in the Matrix because of the code. If you watch the original print, if you have the original DVD, remember in the box on the Matrix, the original DVD was purple. It wasn't a green box, a green streaming code. So someone can go in. They don't have to get, with the director, the DP at first. They can go back and color grade the whole film. But yes, the look, the tone, the temperature, the hue is all controlled by the DP. So that's what Kyle does.
Nice.
So
Yeah, I felt, I looked at Kyle's Instagram and I love just the crispness and look of some of the stuff that he shot. It's really nice.
yeah, he's got good stuff. I'm a big fan of Larry Fong too. So Larry Fong did he did the director photography on Watchmen, on Super 8, J.J. Abrams Super 8 movie. He did like
And
Lost.
even if you don't like Watchmen as a movie, it's beautiful just to look at.
Yeah,
Like that opening, beginning of the movie is just some of the best cinematic stuff I've seen.
well, I think the whole film looks really really beautiful. Same with
Yeah.
Sucker Punch. Not my movie, but it's visually stunning.
Right.
So I'm really excited more than anything for Batman v Superman because I just want to see how it looks. I'm gonna be like in colors Nirvana, like the colors, oh my god, like yeah. Because for me, even when I was a kid, there was a big difference between the way Blade Runner looked and like fucking Captain EO. Like, and as a kid, I knew that's not the same look of the film. Like, but they're both sci-fi. They got spaceships and shit. Same with, in this case, Ghostbusters 1984, and then the new Ghostbusters, which looks like Men in Black or, like Men in Black 3, not 1. Like, I hate the look of it. The more I watch the trailer, the more I dislike the look.
Ooh. Speaking of that, real quick, the missus watched it. She had the most confused look on her face ever. And as soon as the trailer ends, she goes, "I hate it. Don't show me that again."
Yes, bad trailer.
She just said it's bad. She's like, "I don't like it. I don't like the look." She's like, "It's super bright." She's like, "It hurt my eyes." And I'm just sitting there laughing because it's everything we said the night before. And I didn't tell her any of the stuff we said.
You can't see the ghosts. Like, they put so much glow and filter on all this stuff, like it just, I don't know. Actually, I have this thing, it's called dodge and burn, is like what we used to call it back in the day. It's when someone tries to airbrush without actually airbrushing. They just take an image, take the dodge and burn tool and try to burn it and then dodge it to get darks and highlights out of that.
Yeah.
And it always looks fucked up. And so, versus actually taking the airbrush and, smooth airbrushing shadows and highlights.
So, I want to pick the next topic, Rob. Since we're talking about the look and everything, and I saw your mailbag question. Oh, hold on. Ching ching! Mailbag.
Good job, Brandon.
You got here. Someone sent you an email. Do you want me to just say it?
Yeah, go ahead and talk about it.
All right. Finding your own look and coloring your own artwork tips.
Yeah, so because I don't know, I got a lot of influx of Instagram followers the past month.
Mm-hmm.
4,000. So it's not a bad haul.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, Instagram 4,000?
Yeah. So like every day it's like I grow 100, 200. So I'm getting a little love on Instagram right now. And I got a lot of questions about coloring my own work and if they should do it. Also, someone was asking me too about overworking their art because I got a question. They showed me a piece where they drew some line arts. And then they colored it, and I was like, man, you can't see any of your drawing. Like, is that what you're going for? Or are you going for, like, what are you going for? And they were showing me pictures from, like, Street Fighter, like Udon. And so I was trying to liken the conversation to when I first started coloring my gritty pencils, which, I'll be honest, I still don't fully have it down yet. But when I first did, I'm going to try and drag this up. Let me get this, I'm going to go to, I'll show.
I still can't see it.
No, it's not ingesting into YouTube, Brandon. So
Okay.
I'll
have to wait.
Yeah, I'll just post it. So let me go to DigiPaint. So this was my Splatterhouse piece. You remember the pencils, right, Brandon? It was all Stephen Platty like.
Yeah.
I wanted to give this gritty stuff.
It was intense.
Right, and then I went and colored it, and the colors look fine, but it was really hard to see a lot of the pencil work because they made it really black, almost like the inks, the old Marlowe Alquiza inks. And so I took a couple years off even attempting that. And then I eventually did this Batman piece. I'm grab the pencils. That's the color version.
The Batman with the 3 panels?
Yeah, and it works better. It works better. I got it up on screen now. Where you can still see the pencil texture work. You can still see all the texturing. But it prints dark depending on fucking what time of day my printer prints this. I don't know. For some reason, the pencils throw off my printer. I think the thing to remember is when you're coloring your own work is to have a target. When you're first learning, have a good target, what you're trying to accomplish, and then don't go over that level of detail mark because you want to add more to your art to make it look even better. Like, case in point, if you remember, like Joe Mad, did a bunch of stuff in the early days of Udon, and they would color his stuff like there were so many pieces like Street Fighter and stuff, and you could see the pencil texture, and it looked really nice.
Right.
And then when they did Ultimates, remember he did Ultimates 3, and it was so dark you can't see any of it. It was just glows everywhere.
Painted over all the
Right.
lines.
I would say that's way overcolored. And that is tough because when you don't color it enough, sometimes you almost feel like the art is flat. You don't have enough atmosphere. But I found that the thing is, pencils have they have a depth to the texture of them that inks don't give you, that shading doesn't give you. And when you sort of remove that, I think you lose this flavor of the original art, this three-dimensionality that the pencils gave you. So it's a completely different situation. That's why when they don't color, like when they don't hire an inker, they just color the pencils. That's tough, dude. That has the whole look. Joe Mad case again, he did that Avenging Spider-Man book, and I felt like the colors were almost not enough, right? Like it was almost like I don't know if that's enough color. Like
no,
like
and he also did the Wolverine book he did. I think it was Savage Wolverine, and that needed an inker.
Yeah, or it needed. The animation really colored his stuff really nicely back at Udon in the day, but that means that your stuff's going to be kind of bright, in a way. It's going to have a little bit of a brighter tone, which is fine. I mean, I've just found that what I've tried to do as I've gotten older is to not get in the way too much, and what that line of getting in the way of my art, or my line art is to make certain that, you don't want everyone to look at the drawing and go, the drawing's better. If they like pencil art and line art, that's different. I'm a fan of line art and pencil art. I want to get that, great. But you don't ever want them to look at the color and then look back and see two different things. Right. And that is so subjective, man. Like, I've been having a hard time explaining that through text, and fucking Instagram. How am I supposed to? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it's a work in progress. I think I did that Master of the Universe. I don't like the way it was colored, but it was it serves a purpose. The Spawn one with the glowy hand, it was better, but the process was too convoluted. It was a pain in the ass to color. So I've been using gradient maps, so I can color in black and white, not worry about the color as much. However, let me tell you something. When you take pencils and you color in black and white, you got to be very careful you don't crush the shit out of the detail in your pencils. And that for me has been like, I don't yet have that fully worked out. So what I'm going to do is I got some Batman art, because Batman looks really good with those graded pencils. I got some Batman art I'm going to start over the next couple weeks. I already did some silhouettes. And I'm just going to practice the shit out of this over the next couple months until I can work that out. So that's coloring your own stuff. Like, don't get in the way of your lines. At the same time, if you're not good at colors, please don't fucking color your art. Just team up with someone or hire someone.
That's what you told me.
I told Brandon to stop. Please don't color anymore.
He said, find somebody on DeviantArt or just don't do it at all anymore.
Yeah.
And since then, we've gone a different route with me working with Copics and colored pencils because my digital coloring is. I'm just learning flats now. So.
Well, when I tell you specifically what colors to use, not everyone has access to someone telling them what to do.
Right.
So that's a little bit of a different situation. In terms of finding your own look, I mean, some people have that down. Like some people just draw brilliantly, like when they're young. Joe Mad was like, he started when he was 16,
He did. I thought he did his first cover when he was 14 for that Spider-Man with Typhoid Mary on it, and then Deadpool or so when he was 16.
And I'm certain, there's some great Wendy Peeney, the guy remember she did ElfQuest. I remember seeing some of her younger art when I met her at Con back in the early 90s. She seemed to draw brilliantly since she was like 12. Myself, I'm still working on that. I just think now, for like my own look is coming through because I don't have people telling me how to draw, like editors. It's gonna be tough. Like Ashley, I like your art a lot, and it's gonna be like hopefully, you find someone that wants you to draw like that and not, you know what I mean? Not draw like this
Yeah,
cat
I
over here.
sometimes like I don't really know if people like look at my art and go, it's really cartoony, and they don't really, and it's not that it's just cartoon. Like, I mean, I like cartoony, but I also like complex cartoony, if you know what I mean,
Hmm.
with anatomy, and that's what I like. That's what I do, and I don't know if people really all always get that, but I'm not sure really what to think.
Well,
I
I
just do
mean,
it.
right. I made the mistake when I was about your age of overthinking. Um, I would say when I
Yeah.
was 2004, yeah, about 2004, 2005. I remember when I first got my job in the teacher department. These guys that loved, like the art director and a lot of the upper artists were big fans of like Top Cow, Mark Silvestri, that gritty thing. They looked at my art and were like, "Oh, you're like Humberto Ramos, all that fucked up chins and shit." Like it wasn't a compliment. I was like, "I like Humberto
That's really
Ramos." Like,
stupid because I think that's awesome when you draw characters that don't look anything like the other character you just drew and they don't look like a real human face. Those are the coolest things because they're interesting to look at,
Right.
and they're
They got the
like
magic.
okay, I like when I close my eyes, especially before I go to bed, I see a lot of freaky shit in my head and I try to get it down in my, but I don't always do. And that's what I like to draw. I like to draw the weird looking stuff, and because it and then kind of innovate and make it your own. And I mean that's me. Like I like to draw the weirdest, if I can, juxtaposition of things.
right. And
But
so one of two things will occur: someone will hire you to do that, or they'll look at what you do and try to hire you to do what they're doing.
right, which I could do, if people kind of if like you said, I feel like people, unless it's like seeing is believing, if they don't see that you can do it, then they don't think you can do it.
Right. Very few people can look at your talent and go, "Oh, I know they're capable of doing this other thing." That is like the rarest fucking thing. Like I know how to do it because I'm an artist. I had a new one art director ever, like Ray, who knew how to do that. And Dave Halverson over at Play Magazine, he saw in me what I could do. Even when I was like, I can't, I don't know if I can do that. He's like, oh no, you totally can. I can, because he'd been working with artists for like 20 years. And I was like, really? You think I can do that? He's like, oh yeah, you're good. And I'm like, you don't have to fucking do it, Dave. Like, how do you know? Well, he said I could do it. I suppose I can. But that being said, it helps when the person who's writing the check believes in what you can do. You know, and and that's how you can develop your own look when you are being pushed to sort of perform how your mind sees things, or interpret how your mind sees things, and that is also agreeable. If you aren't at a stage where people are asking for that, like it's a bit of a magic trick. If people aren't responding, then you haven't. You don't want to be at that point where you're like, well, this is how I draw, and it's horrible, and everyone doesn't care. Like then at that point, then just draw for yourself. I
Right.
would also say like this is gonna evolve. You're never gonna be like, that's my look, like
Yeah,
unless
no, it always changes, or even if it's just a little bit.
even Jim Lee now is not the same Jim Lee from
Right.
1988.
Well, even Rob Liefeld said that every year he looks back and goes, "I've changed," or "I've gotten better," I mean, it's just and that you want that. You don't want to be stagnant as an artist. That's dangerous.
Yeah. So just take your time, draw a lot of different things, and then take on projects as well that you normally wouldn't, because you'll find avenues or things that you didn't enjoy doing before, you didn't know you would enjoy doing, that you did, that you do now. I mean, case in point, I never thought I would ever be able to like paint, but I was like, okay, I'll sit down and I'm gonna fucking do this, and I don't give a shit what anyone thinks, and I don't care about likes, and I don't care about whether it's fine arty looking. And then over 5 years, like I've been able to develop that and do a point where now it's like people are like, oh, how do you do that? And I'm like, it doesn't, not fucking overnight, people. You just buy some watercolors and then sprinkle on your own special brand of talent, and we
I
just
know
like,
I cried myself to sleep for 3 weeks. It's like,
I didn't even paint anything for like a year. So just give yourself time, folks. Don't expect that you're just gonna wake up one day and And that being said, too, don't expect you're going to wake up one day and be a good artist. It's time in. So you have to actually apply yourself. All right, where are we at now? We're at the 30-minute mark. I think we got time for one more. What did Brandon put down? Power Rangers movie.
Or the Venom movie.
No,
Ta-da!
Venom movie is a go. Doesn't tie into Spider-Man. It's called a fucking mistake. And let me explain to you why. The person in charge of this is Avi Arad. If you don't know who Avi Arad, if you don't know who Avi Arad is, he was the figurehead of the Spider-Man films. His assistant used to be a man called Kevin Feige. Have you heard of Kevin Feige?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So Kevin runs Marvel now.
Mm-hmm.
He used to work with Avi Arad. They didn't get along. If you want to know why Spider-Man 3 had significant problems, it's because of Avi Arad. Avi Arad has a vision for Spider-Man that we don't agree with.
Not at all.
He has a love for characters like Venom. He has a genuine love for that character, but he doesn't get Spider-Man or Venom. So what this is a power play. They're not tied in. This won't be tied into the MCU. This will be some weird thing that they're going to do. I will be shocked if this ever happens. I don't care if they say they hired a writer. I don't give a fuck. If this actually happens, I would be shocked. And I can guarantee you it's going to suck. Sadly. I think this is just contingency plans on... I think Avi Arad doesn't think the Marvel idea for Spider-Man is going to work. And when it really does, and it really works, this is just ego. I hate to say it, this is him throwing his dick on the table against Kevin Feige, and Marvel has nothing to... Kevin doesn't have shit to prove to Avi Arad, because Avi threw away the Spider-Man movies. Just pissed him away, So, yeah, it may as well say Avi Arad's Venom, like Saban's Power Rangers, sort of to tie it together, Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
You have a love for Venom, right, Ashley? You did some Venom on
Yeah.
You could hear that. You could hear it in her voice when you're like, "This will never happen." She was like, "Oh."
No, be happy because this should not happen. Or if it does happen, it's going to tank spectacularly.
Yeah.
So, if you love Spider-Man 3, you're gonna love this.
I never actually saw all of Spider-Man 3, but I'm kind of glad.
What?
You like the Amazing Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 2? That's Avi Arad. He's the reason why Spider-Man sucks now. So
Yeah, I stopped after Doc Ock and the one with Tobey Maguire. Stopped after that one.
Good call.
Yeah.
That was a quickie. Brandon, what about the Power Rangers movie? What do you want to know? Tell me what you think. You like this thing?
I have no idea what's going to go on with it. I just know I'll probably go see it just because of nostalgia, and I used to like the original Power Rangers, and as much as people hated on that Power Rangers movie, I thought their suits were dope. When they got the leather outfits with the cool padding and the motorcycle helmets, oh man, that shit. I still look at it, I'm like, yeah, that's cool shit right there. That if they had the same kind of look with the leather and the strap, everything looking all badass, I'd go see it.
Are you reading the Power Rangers comic?
Nope. I didn't even know there was one until yesterday when I saw a bunch of people posting all the variants and stuff.
You gonna read it now?
There's a comic for everything.
I don't know if I'll read it. Maybe. I might check it out online.
Ashley, do you care about Power Rangers? Is that your... Before
No.
you, maybe?
Nah, that was a while ago.
That's old, right?
Yeah. A while ago, I used to watch it, but it was a while ago.
Right.
Right. I didn't watch it last night. Like, oh man, that's my shit. Go Power Rangers,
You get your stuffed Megazord out, and you're like,
right.
I will say this. Look, when it comes to Power Rangers, I got to do a piece of Power Rangers art for the Kickstarter.
The disappointment in your voice.
The one thing that I did like, that I could actually enjoy on some level, was there was a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers fighting game on the Super Nintendo. Did you ever play that, Ashley?
Nope.
Get a hold of it. It's actually well drawn.
I didn't have a Super Nintendo. I skipped that one. I had a Nintendo. No, wait. No, I had an NES. No, yes.
A Sega?
No, NES. I didn't have the Super Nintendo. I had the original.
if you have access to emulation, because I don't even think it's available on the Wii Shop or anything, I doubt it. But if you ever get a chance to play it, it's actually surprisingly good. Like it's the animation, the colors, the play control for a fighting game. It's actually pretty good.
So you're a fan of Power Rangers, is what you're saying?
The Super Nintendo fighting game, yes, I'm a fan of that.
The Power Rangers. You're a fan of Power Rangers.
Did you know?
Ergo.
Here we go. Richie Horvitz was he played a character on the original, or he played a character on the Power Rangers, but I forgot his name. I think he was. Wait, is there a guy named Zordon?
Yes.
Yes.
He was his minion.
Who's Richie Horowitz?
Or Richard Horvitz, the guy that does the voice of Raz.
Oh, Raz. Oh, he played that? I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Anyways, he plays the little minion dude.
The voice work, not the actual.
No, not the guy.
I was gonna say they got him into a costume. That's why it threw me off.
Probably do a good job.
Yeah, well, that I believe. What I want to know is, will they badly dub Elizabeth Banks' dialogue so it just doesn't quite sync up?
Hey, Rob, let's get a X-Men Protocols update. I want to know about that.
We got time for one more.
Yeah.
So, what's the Joey, what's his last name? The guy who did X-Men Protocols, Brandon?
I'd have to look it up now.
Okay, Joey. Furtardo.
Something like that. You're close.
I'm fucking...
I'll look it up.
So he did this thing. He spent the last year. He's an animator in LA. He puts together his own cartoon of 90s style X-Men called the Dangerous Protocols. CG animation. He did all 2D Flash style effects. The effects look brilliant. It's got a cool. He did a bitmap, so it has like a retro Capcom-y feel. Sorry, folks. And he it looked really cool. And it was definitely the 90s X-Men, because he's like, I love that version of the X-Men. It's not available anymore because fucking Fox, which goes back to a feud between Kevin Feige and Fox way back in the day. Which, by the way, I want you to know that the person that Kevin Feige didn't get along with at Fox now runs Sony, who approved of this Venom movie. So, interesting. So anyway, he had this thing where he was going to launch this web series free on YouTube, no ads, not trying to make any money off it, just a fan series. Immediately got hit with the cease and desist. Launched first episode, within hours, boom, shut down. He flips out. He's like, well, then Joey, he's guy's cute, right? He goes on there, throws the whole internet in a bus. Well, Society 6 is selling prints, and these guys over here at Con are doing this, and these guys over here are selling cosplay bags. And I mean, he just pointed a finger at everybody, and I'm not doing anything. And I'm like, fuck, dude. Artists, the sad part is when artists turn on artists. This is a discrepancy between him and Fox Legal, or Marvel Legal or whatever. And so then it's like, but look at all these fucking dudes over here, it's like, all right, that's a valid point. It's not valid. It's just, I don't see what this has to do with your shit. So this past week, I'm like, on the top of my head, I'm like, I wonder if anything has happened with this. So I just decided to take a look, what's going on. And sure enough, he started posting pictures of his characters that he rendered out, the versions, the 3D models. And then people were like, those are amazing. I wish I could get a print. So he goes, fuck it. If you can't beat him, join him. And put all of his shit up on Society 6. I'm like, well, yeah, but weren't you throwing all these people? I don't know.
Right. Didn't you shit all over all of us? Well, right after it happened to you, and now
it helped further that shitty debate that occurred this past week with the, the whole people selling prints at cons nonsense. So, yeah.
His name is Joel Furtado.
Joel.
Yeah, and
I think he's super fucking talented. I think what he produced is amazing. And I wish it got a screening at Comic Cons. We're going to show this at conventions. I wish he would align himself with the convention. They would show it, you know what I mean? And then everyone could fucking donate some cash, or he can sell some fucking artwork of his that maybe is inspired by X-Men. It's like, dude in blue shirt, with claws that he's holding on to, but it's just a guy. I don't know. There could be a clever way. It reminds me of, if you want to do something with a fan animation, you don't want to get sued. I'm really thinking of Brandon, did you see that live action Ninja Turtles thing where it was a bunch of Asian guys just
Yeah,
wearing?
you showed me, and they're like in the apartment building. And
Yeah,
look like
they're fighting. No, they're fighting outside. It's a sequence it's a fight sequence set to the theme from Metal Gear Revengeance. And
maybe not.
it's four Asian guys, and one's got like a purple shirt and he's wearing glasses. He's a nerd. One's like a Leo. He's got a blue shirt. You know, it's just a battle sequence, and they're clearly the Turtles. It's more Ninja Turtles than the fucking movies. Like since the first film, it's awesome to watch. There's an old guy. You know, the Splinter thing. So I think there's a way to do it that doesn't just parody, but you know, at the same time keeps you out of the trouble.
Legal trouble.
And they don't care about the prints. They care about when people can't tell the difference between something they would produce in animation and not. Like, I mean, that fan films, whatever, fan animation. Personally, I think it's all bullshit, and they should just let them do whatever because it's not hurting the brand. Like, it's just not. A bad fucking movie will hurt the brand. Case in point, Fantastic Four. So, I wonder if this was a Fantastic Four animation, if he'd done that, if anyone would have cared. But I don't know, man. I feel bad for the dude. But yeah, he's selling prints. So can't beat him, join him. So with that being said, let's wrap this up. Brandon, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at LeadHeavy, Lead Heavy.
And Ashley, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and I'm Gangfeather.
Excellent. As always, folks, you can join me here every day, every week, every day. At sketchcraft.com. Whew, doesn't stop. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Leave your comments below. And send your emails, questions, tips, whatever you want us to talk about to rob@sketchcraft.com, sendingthepodcast.com. And remember, everything's supported by viewers like you. Please, share everything. Really, just watch the fucking shit. Share it with your friends. Be real nice. So that, we will see you all next week. I'm out of here.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Do, 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 do.